Yes, good afternoon, students. Today we want to start a fresh topic in chemistry, which is water. Water, solution, and solubility. Water, solution, and solubility. Water, solution, and solubility. I hope you have a graph board in this week. You don't have graph board?
We do.
You do have it? Where is it? Yes. The topic is water, solution, and solubility. We are starting with water. What is water, sir? What is water? Water, that's your primary school definition, is a hydride. A hydride of oxygen with the ratio of hydrogen to oxygen atom per molecule being 2:1. Water is a hydride of oxygen with the ratio of hydrogen to oxygen atom per molecule being 2:1. So because we already know that the molecular formula of water is what? Is H2O. So water is not the only hydride of oxygen we have. And when we're talking about hydride, we mean a compound that contains hydrogen. So when we now say hydride of oxygen, it means that it contains only hydrogen and oxygen. Another hydride of oxygen we have apart from water is hydrogen peroxide. What did I call it? Hydrogen peroxide. That one is H2O2. So that one now, the ratio of hydrogen to oxygen is 1:1. So that is that. Now, let's talk about, say some general things about water. We know that 75% of human body weight is due to water. So 75% of your weight is water. And we already know that 75% of the Earth space is occupied by water. So if the whole Earth you divide it into 100%, it's only the remaining 25% that is dry land. This one will say I buy 35 acres, I buy 1 million acres. It is still within the 25%. So the whole Earth, even if you check the biblical history, you will see that even in the beginning, the Spirit of God was what? Was hovering over water. Everywhere was water. Before he now gathered them together, he said they should be called sea and whatever. Let's look at the sources of water. Sources of water. The various sources of water are: 1. Rainwater. 2. Spring water. 3. We have surface water. You don't know? It will be too cheap. It will be too cheap, and you may want to tear your script. Don't try it. Surface water, e.g., river, lake, ocean, sea, pond, and etc. And we have well water. Well water is not common again in this modern world. Eh? Are you sure? Well water. So these are the common sources of water we have. But the purest one is what? The purest source of water is rainwater. Why is this so?
Because it comes direct.
No. Because it does what? Because it is formed as a result of distillation, evaporation, and condensation. Natural distillation. As the sun is shining, the water in the sun is changing to gas and going. When it gets to the sky, it changes back to liquid and it's coming down as rain. That is distillation. This is because it is a natural distilled water. Natural distilled water. Why? It is formed by evaporation and condensation. So now there's spring water. Spring water. Who can describe spring water to us? Comprises dissolved minerals. Contains dissolved minerals. Spring water, if it is the one that is coming from inside the rock now is a mineral on its own. So it contains dissolved minerals. The dirtiest surface water like ocean contains minerals like chlorides, fluorides, and iodides. They are present inside ocean. Chlorides, fluorides, iodides. They are inside ocean. So then, well water contains mud, contains clay, bacteria, and minerals. Right? Now, there are two forms of water. We have the natural water, which we all have here. We also have prepared water. We have prepared water. So apart from the various forms of water, there are specially made water called treated water. Treated water. What do you mean by treated water? Purified. Page 3. Treated water. Treated water. A treated water is a form of water made by working on any of the various natural sources of water. When you walk on rainwater, well water, any water got it from natural sources, when you walk on it, what you get is treated water. So common examples of treated water. Common examples of treated water are, we have distilled water, we have deionized water, you have deionized water, and distilled water, you have chlorinated water. And you have municipal water. All right. What is distilled water? Distilled water. So, a distilled water is a water that is made by subjecting any form of natural source of water into evaporation and distillation. When you heat water and all the water changes from liquid to gas and it evaporates and it's exposed to a cold place, it now changes from that vapor back to liquid. As it's evaporating, all the dirty things inside will not evaporate with it. They will remain in the container. So, by the time they are distilling, forming liquid, they are now forming very pure water. And that water is distilled water. The water that is coming out of the back of the, the condenser of your air conditioner is a distilled water. Distilled water. This distilled water we have inside this keg here that we bought here, they got it from air conditioner. And we are buying it for liters. So distilled water is purer. The distilled water, the water got from that is purer than the ever water you are drinking. But discrimination, pride will not allow you to come and be drinking it. No problem. God will save you in Jesus' name. Distilled water. But if you drink it, they call you madman. I know the deal. Distilled water is made by subjecting natural water to evaporation and distillation. When you subject natural water to evaporation and distillation, then what do you distill water for? Uses of distilled water. Some people will be asking, is this one chemistry again? This will be like social studies. Have it? Uses of distilled water. It is used in making drugs. By pharmacists. Then it is used in making acidified water. Used as the electrolyte or what? Of lead accumulator. You have learned that one in electricity before. That is car battery. So, then it is used in the laboratory for making solutions, making standard solutions. And for other analytical works. laboratory. So that is what you use distilled water for. Now let's go and look at let's go quickly and talk about deionized water. Deionized water. This is a form of water made by passing natural water through ion exchange resins to replace useless ions with useful ones. So you are not actually removing the ion, but you want to remove some unwanted ions from the water and replace it with another form of ion. That kind of water is called what? Deionized water. Now let's talk about chlorinated water. Chlorinated water. This is a form of treated water. Made by adding chlorine to natural water in order to kill what? To kill germs and bacteria. This kind of water is used in swimming pools. Chlorinated water, use it in swimming pool. Alright, now then, let's now go to municipal water. Municipal water. This is a treated water made available for supply to communities. That is made available for supply to communities. You know, things have changed now. In the olden days, I remember in 1995, yes, when I came to Benin, in 1995, when I came to Benin for a surgical operation. Yes. That time, there was something like bowl. Water was a major problem in Benin. That was when this well, people would put funnel in their roof to collect water inside the well. It's not like now. That time, if you get to Adesua, you will see there's a government body there. We call it water resources. Shebi. That time they were functioning well. When you build your house, as you collect NEPA, as you collect light inside your house, you also pay to be connected to water. So when you pay, they will supply your community with water. Tap. So you can. So that kind of water is municipal water. Now it's not common now that everybody has borehole in their houses. Nobody wants to patronize it, but the company is still functioning. They are just going there to play and collect government salary. They are not actually working again. Who will they supply water? Everybody can make their own water themselves. Alright. Let's look at steps. This is page 6. Steps in making treated water. treated water. Okay, good. Thank you, sir. God bless. Okay, now let's go. Steps in making treated water. So what are the steps? So many of you that are saying bottled water is good, ever water is good. You will now see how dangerous it is to consume those kind of water now. You see about 7 different types of chemicals are added to that water you are drinking. It is rather a poison. You discover that in the olden days when there were nothing like this, people were living long. People were still living for 200, 300 years. But nowadays, if person managed to live 70 years, you say, that man, thank God for life well spent. All these things we consume, they are taking life. They will kill the germs, but they later start killing human beings too, small. So the various steps involved in treatment of water for town supply are number one thing they do when they gather water. Number one thing they do is collection of water into a large space called, or a large well called reservoir. So they collect the water into reservoir. Then the next thing they do is aeration, which involves blowing of smelling volatile gases away from collected water. You see, the water they collect water from different places. Dirty water that somebody has urinated inside, poto water, all those kind of rubbish water. They collect everything. There was not like bowl, they didn't have bowl. They collect that kind of water. Then the water would have been smelling. So they use air to blow volatile gases that are smelling like hydrogen sulfide away from the water. Then the next thing they do, number three thing they do is called sedimentation. The aerated water is passed through a certain tank. Where large stones settle down. So they are passed through settling tank for large stones to go down. After which they will now add alum, potash alum or sodium aluminate to cause flocculation or coagulation. So that after sedimentation, the next thing is coagulation. Yes, page 3 is going now. What's the small rat guys? Alright. Now page 7. So point number 4 is coagulation. Or oh, you did not tell me now. Flocculation. Please try to know the difference between coagulation. Thank God we are recording, so you can complete your notes. Now, coagulation or flocculation. See, the difference between sedimentation and coagulation. In the case of sedimentation, death in large particles of stones are allowed to settle down. But in coagulation, tiny particles are allowed to settle down. Because when stones settle down, you see how some tiny particles inside the water. The water will be clear. Are we together now? Then, so now in this process now, tiny particles are removed or are crystallized or are precipitated, okay? Precipitated when chemicals such as potash alum, that's potassium aluminium tetraoxosulfate dodecahydrate, SO4-12H2O. This is alum. This is a double salt. Potassium aluminium tetraoxosulfate dodecahydrate. Okay. Then we have sodium alumina. Sodium alumina. That is NaAlO2 are added. So, coagulation or flocculation. Tiny particles are precipitated when chemicals such as potash alum, sodium alumina are added. In those days, it's not like now. Put on your tap water. Clean water is coming out. If you want to wash clothes, that time, especially during dry season, in Benin now there is no dry season, there is no wet season. Blessing. Blessing, sit up. Now, in those days, during dry season like this, when we go and fetch water, the water will be like tea. I want you to wash white. What we do is that we don't put alum. Once you don't turn alum, you turn alum inside. Alum. All the dirty things will just settle down. The clean water will come up. The water using it to wash. So that is what you are doing here is what we call coagulation. So the remove tiny particles and the removed tiny particles are called flux. Those particles that are removed, they are called flux. That's flocculation or coagulation. Now, apart from coagulation, yes, the next one is filtration. Filtration. The water from the water is sent to the filter bed where fine particles, finest particles, the finest particles now, particles are removed by filter. So after that, the next thing that is done is treatment. So the various chemicals or the following chemicals are added. The following chemicals are added to treat the water. What are those chemicals that are added to treat the water? And you must know the function of each of the chemicals. So, in page 8 now. So we have chlorine to kill germs. Why I keep to add this one? Germs and bacteria. But mind you, as it kills the germ, if you don't see germ to kill again inside your body, it start killing human cell, small. So then you have number 2. You have slaked lime or lime water or calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide, CaOH2. This one is performing 2 functions: to remove water hardness and to neutralize any dissolved acid. So if there's any dissolved acid, calcium hydroxide is a base. It turns into salt and water so that it will not be harmful. So then it removes hardness from water. Now, what is hardness of water? Hardness of water. What is hardness of water? So we are going to look at that in the next video. Yeah.